No, I'm going to take my muumuu off and I'm getting in my underwear. We're always afraid we're going to offend somebody. I offend people when I use a paper plate and a metal fork. We think about every decision we make, everything we do, everything we say. Is this going to upset this person or my mother-in-law or the internet? If we can't be authentically us, the stress, it's going to show up in so many areas of our life. If you can't be spontaneous and you're worried about everything someone's going to think, are you living? Can I tell you a really funny story?
Yes, tell us.
What I just did.
Okay.
My husband probably thought I was like in a midlife crisis, but I was like, I don't even care. We went to Arizona for my nephew's wedding, Tucson area, and my gosh, it was already like 108 degrees. There was a pool at the Airbnb, but it was just too hot. Everyone's like, I don't want to even go outside. Everyone stayed in the house. The ground was too hot to even walk on. Well, my daughter was out there, so I went out there with her, and I was still in like my muumuu, and I went out there and just visited her while she was out in the sun tanning. And I just looked at that water and I was like, oh, that looks really good. So I pushed up my muumuu a little and I put my feet in the water and I'm like, oh, that feels really good. I don't want to go back in the house and put my swimsuit on. And I looked at her and I looked at the house. All the blinds are shut. My in-laws are there. My brother-in-law's there. Our family friend is there. Blinds are shut. No one's coming out here. It's freaking hot. My kids, other kids aren't going to come out and swim. And I'm doing it. So I look at Callie and I'm like, I'm going to get in. And she's like, what? I'm getting in your muumuu. I'm like, no, I'm going to take my muumuu off and I'm getting in my underwear. And she was like, huh? I'm jumping in this water right now. So I whipped off my muumuu and I jumped in my underwear and I was like, and she's dying. She's like, Mom. I'm like, Callie, let me tell you something. If you can't be spontaneous and you're worried about everything someone's going to think, are you living? I'm like, I've got to jump in this water. It was like, because I've been coming out of this like cocoon for the last few years of what we've gone through. If I can't just take this urge with nobody around, big freaking whoop, and jump in this pool, I'm going to be afraid of everything and everything's going to stress me out and I'm not going to be spontaneous. No, I'm doing it. And so then I was just swimming around in my underwear. And then I was like, Callie, can you run in and get Mom a towel? So she goes in. Derek comes out with his towel, like he's, fastly walking with the towel and he's like holding it up. And I'm like, will you stop freaking out? I was like, stop it. And so I get up and I wrap it around me and I, dry off. I put my muumuu back on. I went in the house and he's looking at me like, and I said, Derek, no one was coming out. No one saw me. Relax. I was like in the water for maybe 5 minutes. I was like, relax. And then later I said, and of course, with me and my personality, I was like, oh no, is he mad at me? And then I went up to him later and I was like, are you mad? He's like, no, because I can't tell from your face if you think I've lost my mind. And I said, Derek, I can't be spontaneous again. I'm going to stay in this place. And I can't be in this place anymore. So it's just that little act of just taking that dive. Just do it. If you feel spontaneous, just freaking do it. We think about every decision we make, everything we do, everything we say, every decision. Is this going to upset this person or my mother-in-law or the internet? Like you don't get to be you. You don't get to create. And so when I was standing in that water, I was like, I'm jumping in. Derek laughs about it. He's like,
it felt so good.
Oh my gosh. It felt good. It felt so
I'm
good.
so proud of you. I want to share that story with everyone because that's such a good example of just doing what you want to do or what you feel like and not worrying about the in-laws inside, not worrying about
if there was people around besides my daughter, if there was people around, that would have been totally inappropriate, uncalled for. And I would.
Yeah.
She lost her dang mind. No. I was around and it was like, if I don't jump in this pool right now, I'm going to be frozen a lot longer.
Obviously was a turning point for you. It sounds like it was very healing.
It was so nice. And so I hope when I was talking to Callie, I hope she understood what I was saying.
Yeah. No, I love that. I'm sure she will remember that forever. She will. And and what's funny, of course, I remember her mom jumping in the pool with her underwear. But what she'll remember is what you said afterwards about being
Yeah.
spontaneous. And I think that's really,
You
really
just
special.
gotta. I think everyone needs a therapist, even if you think you don't need one or not. There's things that surprise you that you don't even are aware that you're going through, or why you do what you do, and what drives you, and where your stress is really coming from, and where it's stemming from. A lot of my stress is the fact of how it's going to affect somebody else, or what is this one person going to think or say. It's amazing when you really think about where the stress is coming from and where it's rooted from. To get out of it, it was really a lot of therapy and finding my voice again. Because there was years I held a lot in, which is not me. I'm very like vocal. And there was a few years where I just kind of shoved everything down, encouraged to let it out again. So, go lock yourself in a room and have Tourette's. Like, I was encouraged, like, go have a Tourette's moment. You've got to get what you're feeling out somehow, either saying it to the air. There's many moments in 2023 where I was in our closet, just like if someone came in, they'd be like, she's lost her damn mind. But it was, no, I've held so much in for so long. And so talking is so important. And having, people in your life that you can talk to and just vent to, where it's like, I don't want advice. I just need to get this out. It's so important.
Oh, no, I love that. I think having someone to talk to is so important. It's life-changing to be able to express ourselves. Like when we have to suppress it, or when you live in a world where you feel like we have to have this perfect life and this perfect house and this perfect, everything's so great. And on social media, everything's awesome. That is what causes us to go crazy. Honestly, that is what causes us to fall into depression or have more anxiety or not be able to shut down. It's because of the world that we're living in, where everyone is just so intertwined. And that's honestly why I created the circle. Is like, I just want us to have a place where we can be real. It's not Instagram. It's not Facebook. We can actually have real connections and talk about the hard, because life is way too hard to do it alone.
I used to be this big extrovert, and I really have gone in. And I don't know if that's also age and what I've gone through, or social media. Social media will do it to you too.
And you get to that point though, where you're like, okay, what's best? Like, am I supposed to be reeling it in, or am I supposed to keep going when you're making a difference? That's a hard decision, but
and it's hard when you want to be very blunt. Like, I'm me. I don't act. I can't get on camera and pretend. It shows up on camera. People know, like, are you okay? Are you going through something? I can't hide it. But there's so much more I want to say and bring, but there's also like that. My views are not everybody's views, and people really want to hear from me, like, well, how do you feel about it? And it's like, you don't want to know what I think about it. And so it's like, there's things that I just would love to just say, but I hold back a lot. Oh, not that I'm going to get canceled. I don't really care. Like, but it's like, everyone's got different thoughts and opinions.
Yeah.
So I do get stressed out when it comes to creating content, because we're always afraid we're going to offend somebody. I offend people when I use a paper plate and a metal fork. So no matter what we do, we're going to offend somebody. If we can't be authentically us, the stress, it's going to show up in so many areas of our life. You don't need to be an a-hole about things, I mean, everyone has their opinion, and your opinion's going to ruffle feathers, but there's a polite way of saying and doing things.
Life can be stressful. It's a lot. And like I said, we all are going through a lot of different trials. And I think we all have different stories. We all have different things. What's cool about it is we all can learn from each other on how we get through the stress. I wanted you to explain just like a little thing about your POP, your progress over perfection, right? Kind of tell us, about that mentality and how we can take that into our daily lives.
Over the years, with like the anxiety and the ADHD, would hear, the phrases of like, progress is enough and progress over perfection. And I was like, POP. I'm like, okay, what am I going to do today? What can I pop at today that's going to like bring me joy or bring me calmness or make the home feel good for about an hour until it gets wrecked again? We focus so much on being enough and being perfect that there's no such thing, right? There's no way. and we compare ourselves to everybody. And I heard a saying once, like, you can't compare yourself to somebody at the moment at their best. Just taking the little victories that we have during the day and see them and accept them, because our brain needs that validation. And so every day I just try to pop. In the last couple of years, I've forgotten about that. And I was like, Kimmy, you need to bring pop back into your life, because I focus on the negative a little too much, or where we should be, or where I should have done, that I am not seeing the victories that just happened. It's just seeing that we don't need to be perfect, and just happy about the little thing that we just nailed, you know?
I love that. But I'm going to remember that, the pop. Like every morning, like, hey, how am I going to pop today? Right? It doesn't have to be perfect, but how can we progress just a little bit? I love that, Kimmy. Kimmy, you are such a light. And I hope that you feel that you are such a light in this crazy world. And that's actually why I asked you to come on here, is because I knew that you would be real and honest and share your heart. And I feel like you did. And I'm just so grateful